Hey guys, this is Attorney Tim Anderson, January 8th, 2020. So let's talk about 961. It came out. It is a little bit different than what we saw with Senate Bill 16. And let me talk about some of those differences. Now, what I don't particularly love about bills like this, well, I mean, not only are they obviously changing things around, but what I don't really love about them is they change a bunch of different code sections inside the bills. And I mean, I like bills that just attack one code section, but this changes a lot of different code sections in Virginia. So reading the summary isn't going to really give you the full answer. I mean, obviously, all of you can read the summary and get the gist of what's happening. But basically, it's very much like Senate Bill 16. AR-15s, semi-automatic rifles, silencers. These are all going to be illegal to own in Virginia. So it's very much like that. But what it does different is it puts some deadlines on it. So first off, laws go into effect on July 1. So January 1, 2021 is going to be the effective date of when you're going to have to do something. So that's something different. We know now that they're looking at like January 1 as being the compliance deadline with the rules. Now, there's 4 ways you're going to be able to comply with the law. The first way is you can render your what will be deemed assault firearm inoperable. Now, by the way, the assault firearm definition is exactly like it is in Senate Bill 16, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time going through that. We've talked about that at length. It's identical. So you can make it inoperable. You can remove it from the Commonwealth. You can sell it to somebody outside of the Commonwealth, or you can surrender it. Now, the other part of this that changes things deals with the registration side of it. Now, there is a registration clause in this bill, but I do like that the Democrats love to play with words. Remember yesterday I talked about abortion and they talked about reproductive liberties instead of saying abortion. Well, what they're saying now is instead of registration, they're calling it a permit. So you'll be able to keep your assault firearms, and I'm saying this as they're saying it, not in any other way, but you'll be able to keep these defined firearms, which are going to be defined as assault firearms, if you obtain a permit from the state police, which is essentially registration, but rather than say registration, they're using a different word like permit because you have to get a concealed handgun permit, and that's palatable to the 2A community. Permits are palatable, registration is not. But if it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck, it's a duck. It's a registration. You're going to have to register your firearms if you want to keep them in Virginia. Now, I want to point out one other part of this that needs to really be understood. They are going after high-capacity magazines in this bill, which is different than Senate Bill 16. Senate Bill 16 just made it illegal to purchase a high-capacity magazine. This bill is going to make it illegal to own a high-capacity magazine, and that's defined as more than 10. Now, what's curious about it is that, this is why I don't like these kinds of bills, because they change all the code sections, but what it does is it adds a section to 18.2-308.9. Now, what that's going to say is that it's illegal to own, purchase, or possess a high-capacity magazine. Now, what it is not clear to me in reading the bills in combination with each other is whether or not you're going to be able to get a permit for your high-capacity magazine. It does not seem to be that way. The permit process seems to be just for the weapon itself, not for the magazine. So it does not appear to me that the registration process as written is going to allow you to have your high-capacity magazines. Now, having a high-capacity magazine will be a Class 6 felony after January 1, 2021. And so if this bill goes through as written without amendments, it looks like you're going to be able to get a permit, which is registration, to keep the firearm, but the magazine itself would be illegal. And it does not look like you're going to be able to get a permit. Now, I could be reading this wrong, or they may make an amendment to that, but I don't read it that way. It looks like it's only going to be the firearm that's legal. The other thing is they're absolutely making silencers illegal. Okay, now this is a big thing with the NFA. You can't evacuate your silencer to North Carolina. You can't take it across state lines under the ATF rules without getting ATF permission. So you're going to have about a year. You may want to start working on that, working on getting permission to remove your NFA items out of Virginia if you want to be in compliance. It does not look like silencers are also on the list of things you're going to be able to keep even with a permit. It's very confusing. It's a very confusing bill. The assault weapons themselves, as they're defining them, those are going to be protected. But if you want to get a permit. But the other ones do not seem to be that way. Now, look, let me tell you one other thing. Even if you get a permit, it's going to highly restrict your ability to possess your firearms. So first off, you can keep them in your house if you have a permit. You can take it to somebody else's property, but you'll have to get their written permission to be on their property. So you can't just go to your buddy's house and take your firearm, your registered permitted firearm, without him giving you written permission to do so. You can take it to a shooting range, or you can take it when you're surrendering it to the police. So you're not going to be able to walk around in Richmond at lobby day with an AR-15. They're not going to let you do that. You're not going to be able to have it anywhere in Virginia other than your house, somebody else's house or property, or in a gun range. So you're not going to be able to have it out in public, even with registration. Okay, so that's how I read all of this. I've spent a little bit of time. I know y'all have been talking about it for a day now. I wanted to be accurate in what I'm saying. If you read it some other way, or if you disagree with me, feel free. I mean, obviously the law is going to change as it's going through the committees and all of that. But I certainly don't have anything more to report than just that. It's definitely a different bill than Senate Bill 16 by giving the registration provisions, but it does absolutely go after high-capacity magazines, silencers, NFA items, things like that. There's also some language in there about it being illegal for a child to possess a shotgun that can hold more than 7 rounds. The child being anybody under the age of 18. Also illegal for the child to possess a pistol under the age of 18. So even if he was moving it from one point to the other. So there's a lot going on here. And this is a pretty aggressive one. Now this is Bill 961, and as you know, the last bill I just talked about was in the 400s. So there's a lot that's happened between these two, but this is the big one. I wanted to push this information out to you and give you the best I could on that. I'll be talking to you later today about the other bills.